recorded live in beautiful Colorado, USA. Broadcast around the world. You're listening to the Quarterly Review Podcast, produced by Three Angels Message Ministry. Your host is Tamara Rookdashel.
Welcome to our Quarterly Review Podcast, produced by Three Angels Message Ministry. I'm your host, Tamara Rookdashel. This quarter's been titled Daniel. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2020, and our lesson for today is titled The Image, Part 1. Let us begin with the word of prayer. Precious Creator, I thank you for this life. Without you, there is nothing. You are the I Am, the one that gave us life and teaches us with patience through the processes of free will, accomplishment, and consequence. You ask us to reason with you. Choose life and blessing over death and curses. You teach through your scriptures. In the examples we find that there are no accidents or coincidences, and that you have a hand in everything that happens, and even if it is an attack of the enemy, you can turn all tragedy into ultimate victory. Be gentle in reminding us to get out of your way, and that we do not know what is best for ourselves. We barely even know what we want in this life, and that is usually not in our best interest. Forgive us of our rebellion and not surrendering to the divinity that you would have us accept and adopt as your own character. Continue to mold and make us into the children you created us to become. Send us as emissaries in Jesus, or in Hebrew, Yeshua's name. We praise you, love you, and thank you. Amen. Tuesday, January 14th, The Image, Part 1. I'll review for you Daniel chapter 2, verses 24 to 30 out of the NIV. Then Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to execute the wise men of Babylon, and said to him, Do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret his dream for him. Arioch took Daniel to the king at once and said, I have found a man among the exiles from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means. The king asked Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it? Daniel replied, No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the visions that passed through your mind as you were lying in bed are these. As your majesty was lying there, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have greater wisdom than anyone else alive, but so that your majesty may know the interpretation, that you may understand what went through your mind. What does Daniel say here that's so important for us always to remember? There is a God in heaven who unlocks mysteries, even so we can understand the thoughts of our own minds. In response to prayer, God reveals the content of the dream and its interpretation, and Daniel does not hesitate to tell the king that the solution for the mystery comes from the quote-unquote God of heaven. Also, prior to reporting the context of the dream and its interpretation, Daniel mentions the unexpressed thoughts and concerns of the king as the latter lay sleepless in bed. This circumstantial information further emphasizes the credibility of the message, because such information known only to the king must have come to Daniel through a supernatural power. But as Daniel proceeds to report the context of the dream, he risks triggering another crisis, because the dream is not necessarily good news for Nebuchadnezzar. Next, I will read Daniel chapter 2, verses 31 to 49. Your majesty looked, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. While you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were all broken to pieces and became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace, but the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. Your majesty, you are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed all mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds of the sky. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are that head of gold. After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of the iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. As the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture, and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it itself will endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands. A rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true, and its interpretation is trustworthy. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell prostrate before Daniel and paid honor, and ordered that an offering and incense be presented to him. The king said to Daniel, "Surely your God is the God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries, for you are able to reveal this mystery." Then the king placed Daniel in a high position and lavished many gifts on him. He made him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placed him in charge of all its wise men. Moreover, at Daniel's request, the king appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego administrators over the province of Babylon, while Daniel himself remained at the royal court. What does the dream say is the fate of Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom? That it will be replaced, and that no world kingdom is eternal until God himself sets up his kingdom. The dream consists of a majestic image with its head of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Daniel 2:32 and 33 NKJV. Eventually, a stone struck the image on its feet. Daniel 2:34 NKJV. And the whole structure was destroyed and scattered like chaff on the wind. Daniel explains that the different metals represent successive kingdoms that will replace one another throughout the course of history. For Nebuchadnezzar, the message is clear. Babylonia, with all its might and glory, will pass away and be replaced by another kingdom, which will be followed by others, until a kingdom of a completely different nature will replace them all, God's eternal kingdom, which will last forever. Look at how fleeting and temporary all human things are. What does this fact teach us about the great hope we have in Jesus and in him alone? See John chapter 6 verse 54 and 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 18. We hope you enjoyed our review of today's quarterly lesson. Please consider writing down and looking up the Bible text we cover in your own Bible and for yourself if you do not already receive a published copy of our quarterly adult Bible study guide. Please hit follow, like, or subscribe on the podcast page you are on so you can receive up-to-date podcasts and access to all of our services. We have made available a free PDF download of just the questions for each week, available within our Sunday blog posts. These are great additions to keeping a spiritual journal of what God has done in your life for your own spiritual edification, but as witness to encourage others as well. Writing down your answers to the questions allows them to sink in more deeply, inspire further thought, to inspire action, to ultimately inspire change in your life and the lives of those around you. If you are also looking for groups in your area that are studying with us, we can provide information to connect you. Just contact us or place your request within our forum. We look forward to connecting with you online in the future and in God's kingdom.
Thank you for joining us today. To find out more about our ministry, listen to older podcasts, read additional articles, join our forum, access printable PDFs, or order your own published quarterly booklet, please visit us online at www.3am-ministry.org. Have a blessed and prosperous day.